Okay, looks like we're live. Hey, Jojo, go to your bed. Jojo, go to your bed. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Honey Badger. Oh, shit, I gotta, wait, something's making noise here. Hold on.
Yeah, no worries. Nope.
Mute. Okay, it was my kick. Jojo, go to your bed. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Honey Badger Arcade. My name is Brian. I'm here with John, the problematic white guy, and this is the Week in Culture, where we discuss the cultural news of the week and try to, dig a little deeper, look behind the curtain if possible, or pull it back.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, so, and it is, we're basically at the end of October, but I'm going to leave my jack-o'-lantern up for today. If you guys can see it behind me. It was my first jack-o'-lantern I ever carved. I never did it before as a kid. So I did it this week, and I kind of want to show it off a little bit.
Nice.
So,
well, yeah, you're gonna do something. You gotta at least get a little bit of use out of it. I just had, I really hadn't done much for Halloween for the last 15 years because it's my ex-wife's birthday also. So Halloween just turned into a thing that I'd just rather not even deal with. But yeah, we had I ended up streaming most of Halloween, like the night before, Thursday going into it, and then a whole bunch of stuff happened, and I just barely I finally got caught up sleep before the show, obviously, but it was one of those things. Have you ever been up so long that when you finally sleep, you just want to continue sleeping? So, we had a fun costume party over on Toasties last night till about, I think.
I saw that. I did. I saw that. You were like a pirate or something, right?
That was last Sunday when I was the pirate. Last night I was still wearing. Yeah, I'm the dude in the Matrix. So I was drinking White Russians, and I might have had a few too many because, like I said, when I woke up at first after getting some sleep around 6 a.m. I was like, oh man, this is gonna be a rough day. Thankfully, I need another 3 hours of sleep, and everything seems to be much better. That and my coffee just finished, so I'm gonna switch from White Russians to black coffee. I think is the aim for today. But yeah, no, it was good Halloween. I hope you had fun with yours as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, mine, I had to work. So, I did a show, and then I streamed some Repo with Lindsay and a couple of other people last night, and that was fun because Repo put out a new update.
Oh shit, we're gonna do that again one of these days.
What was that?
I say we're gonna have to play another do that again one of these days.
Yeah, definitely, we'll have to do that again for sure. So yeah, we were playing Repo last night. There's 10 new monsters, and they expanded on all the maps. They've added a bunch of other things. We haven't even seen everything really, and so it was a good time.
Right.
And Jojo's finally going to his bed. Good boy. He's just a bit of a rebel. But anyway. So yeah, other than that, like I said, we did some carving, but it was relatively low key last night. And around here, the trick-or-treaters came earlier in the week. Yep. So kind of weird to me that it's not on Halloween night, but whatever.
Halloween
I guess
has kind of turned into this thing that happens either before or right after. It's because there'll be some people that are doing it today for whatever reason, because Saturday's more accessible. So
yeah,
but who knows?
Yeah, for real. So anyway, so shout out to the people that at home that are watching. Thank you so much for coming. And if you're on Kick, I've been streaming to Kick, but I haven't been paying attention to it. So I'm gonna try and give Kick a lot more love it going forward, making sure that I'm streaming to Kick and I'm looking at the chat there. So, if you guys are on Kick, then I'm definitely paying attention. So, all right. Anyway, we have a lot to get to, so let's get into the stories.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So let's start. Okay. First things first. We have a Journocalypse happening, and I am here for it. So, this isn't. Yeah, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, in this day and age, I mean, I know the corpos are replacing all their journalists with AI bots, which really, can you blame them when the quality of writing has become nothing but just editorials? And if you want that, you can simply find people online that are more investigative and a little bit more outside of the vested interests that are usually being talked about in these things. So yeah, it's journalism, power to the people, and all that. We can all be just independent and say what we want. I think that's how the freedom of speech works, right?
Yeah.
And we don't really need journalists in the 21st century, not in any kind of official capacity. But yeah, that's
For sure. Hey,
yeah,
Master
that's my
Goa,
thoughts on it.
welcome. Robert Johnson. Trying to pay attention to the guys in the chat. For some reason, my social stream ninja is not picking it up, so I'm gonna have to do some refreshing really quick.
Right.
So
Oh.
anyway, it's fine. It'll work. I got this. So over the past 2 years, the video game journalism industry has experienced a staggering exodus, with more than 1,200 journalists, editors, and related professionals departing from their roles, according to data compiled by former GameSpot editor Lucy James. This figure, tracked via a public Google Sheet updated as of October of this year, reflects widespread layoffs, voluntary exits, and restructurings across
Right.
major outlets driven by broader economic pressures in media. High-profile closures and cuts include the shutdown of Polygon in early 2025, which eliminated 40 positions, and significant reductions at IGN. Over 100 staff were lost, basically in just the last year.
Isn't like a mass firing considered a polygon?
Yeah, that's pretty good. Kotaku, merging with Geo's Media Remnants and Games Radar Plus, lost 30% of their staff in 2024. Other affected entities range from Vice's gaming arm, who the hell watches that anyway, to independent sites like Eurogamer, with the total departures surpassing 1,200 amid a contraction fueled by declining ad revenue, failed pivot to subscriptions, and a post-pandemic ad slump. But and they are trying to like blame this on the pandemic, but we're 5 years out of that at this point, or almost 5 years out of that. That no longer flies as an excuse, guys. Come on.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's just cope. James,
Sure.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was just saying, yeah, it's pure cope. They don't really have any reason to be able to defend themselves for, I believe the expression is "get good," and that's not what journalism has been about for quite some time. So yeah, DEI hires will ultimately lead to DEI fires, and then there'll be an AI takeover in those roles. Because
absolutely,
if you're just gonna have an NPC doing stuff to begin with, you might as well have one that you can legitimately shut off at the end of the day.
Yep. Okay, so yeah, it looks like I got this working. So
cool.
James's spreadsheet, crowdsourced from public announcements and insider reports, highlights that 2024 saw over 700 exits, underscoring the sector's fragility compared to gaming's booming $200 billion market. So despite the fact the games industry itself is still massive, and that's even like considering, all of the sort of like failed AAA projects, but that's sort of, I mean, that doesn't really compare to the growth happening in the AA and the indie sphere, and some of the AAAs that managed to like, do well despite like their competitors not doing so well. So anyway,
it certainly has been more of the year of the indie releases, to say the least. But
yes,
there's
for sure.
Few bright spots, I suppose, in larger companies. Metal Gear Solid obviously springs to my mind immediately.
Yeah, and Metal Gear Sigma, or not Sigma. I keep saying that.
Delta. Yeah, it's played by a bunch of Sigmas, but
yeah. So anyway, so the departures have profound ripple effects, leaving remaining teams overburdened, coverage gaps in niche areas like indie games and esports, and a chilling effect on investigative journalism due to reduced resources. Contributors like Chris Plant of Polygon described the soul-crushing burnout from constant crises, while others cited toxic work environments, AI encroachment on entry-level roles, and burnout from crunch-like deadlines. Industry voices, including former Edge editor Brendan Caldwell, warn of a brain drain that could homogenize reporting and erode diversity, with women and marginalized groups hit the hardest. That's weird. Why would that happen? Are they not qualified? Potential solutions floated include unionization efforts. Oh, of course. Oh God, I'm sorry, but I don't like unions. I'm just saying they're part of the problem in terms of like the whole DEI thing. They're like the biggest push of that shit.
Yeah, they are kind of a bureaucracy
I mean,
that is put into play that
yes.
kind of
I think that I think at least right now, and I'm sure there are people who are very libertarian that would explain otherwise, and I'm open to that.
Yeah.
I think that despite the fact that maybe there was an argument to be made for for the need of unions so that workers or employers could essentially haggle with the employers could haggle with the employees about fair treatment in the workplace and some other things, but it's just way past that now, even if it ever was that, which I would question.
Right.
So like I take issue with, because that's what usually people who are lazy and don't do that much are the ones that are more likely to want to unionize. That's why I find it suspicious. But anyway,
right.
Contributors like Chris Plant, already read that bit. So homogenize, right, unionization, right, efforts, diversified revenue like Patreon models for indies, and calls for publishers to fund ethical journalism. What was that? What'd you say? Wait, calls for publishers to fund ethical journalism? So do we need ethics in games journalism? Is that what we're saying right now? As James notes, the industry is losing its memory, but glimmers of hope lie in resilient freelancers and emerging creator economies. Though without systemic change, the talent bleed risks long-term stagnation in games media. No, these numbers, the 1,200, you got to pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers.
Right.
You got to pump those numbers up. You got to get those numbers up.
I believe we can still go way higher, especially when you're talking about the gaming publications. Again, there's more than enough people doing more kind of analytical coverage or breakdowns, or actually things that apply to real world game player sensibilities. I wouldn't say that we're necessarily the brightest shining star in that regard, but that's because there's a whole sky full of them, and people can find their outlets wherever they just go to do a general internet search these days. So I don't think that any of these reporters from the non-ethical gaming media are really going to be missed all that much. It's if anything, this is a correction that needed to happen.
100%.
Yeah, and definitely there are quite a few more people that are inhabiting roles that have come in with their own personal politics and advocacy at the forefront of everything that they do. So anytime you go to read an article, it ends up just being about the same old bullshit. So,
well, yeah, I mean, the issues, this is why I brought up the ethics part, because this is like one of the primary like issues that the original Gamergate was trying to raise awareness of.
Right.
And everyone that did that, no matter how well intentioned they were, no matter how say moderate they were trying to be, they were all dismissed as hateful, misogynist bigots or racists or clan members or whatever, right? And unfortunately, a lot of people in Gamergate didn't connect the dots on that, and they were so busy trying to convince them that they weren't bad people despite being called bad people. They ended up giving up a tremendous amount of ground to them because they assumed that the people calling them that were just mistaken, or they maybe they don't understand where they're coming from, and they just need to be like appealed to more. And I don't know if people are realizing it yet, but these people don't actually care, like what and they celebrate your death. I mean, if you're an obstacle. And when it comes to games journalists, at least the ones that I think are losing their jobs, they're not gamers. They don't love the hobby. They're just there because they're failed writers that can't get a real journalist job at like New York Times or something, which is sad because that's a pretty low fucking bar, but they can't even meet that. So they're writing like thought pieces on video games, and they do it from the perspective of people who don't appreciate them. So the reason why they're losing is mainly because regular gamers that have a phone or a webcam can go on the internet and review games themselves, and they're probably going to be more credible. They're going to be more believable because that person cares about the franchise. A lot of these, just gamers that are just like into the hobby or into this form of entertainment. I used to call gaming a hobby, but I don't think it is now. It's sort of like, it's like calling watching TV or movies a hobby. I don't. I think it's just
and more of a pastime, I think, than a hobby.
Yeah, it's a pastime, right? Exactly. Yeah. It's a pastime. It's like going to the baseball game. Yeah, I have a hobby. I go to baseball games. Like, no, you like baseball, so you just go to the games, right? So, anyway, yeah. So, like, in short, this is good, and we're winning, and that's kind of the theme of the show today is we're winning. And we were always winning, and we were always right. And that's another thing that, I think that is important to say, that if you guys that are watching were supportive of Gamergate from the beginning, and that you recognized that the primary problem that was happening was actually more about ideology and less about ethics, because again, even assuming that journalist ethics should be prominent, it actually is overly charitable to the people that are calling you bigots and fascists. So if you were behind it from the beginning and you knew it as an ideological issue from the beginning, congratulations for sticking around and sticking to it this long, because you were correct, just like I was, because I knew that was the problem. And I knew that until we saw it for what it was, we were never going to be able to address it.
Yep.
So,
I mean, ultimately, that's the reason, partially, why I started doing stuff online myself was, I'd had these thoughts, and I'd been saying this stuff since I was in art school about how all this stuff was going to go. It was pretty starkly written, and yeah, and the writing was on the wall like 20 years out. And so people like you who actually did get into this a decade ago, maybe a little bit more than that at this point in time with the Gamergate stuff when it all really kind of kicking off. You've been doing the good fight for quite some time, and now as more people have seen it for what it is and are able to just bring their own information to an audience directly, because more often than not, it's you're actually seeing people play the games in real time when they're doing their reviews and things like that. So you're getting a far more unbiased account of a thing than just words on a page that generally don't really equate to much, other than a jumping off point to get into how all this identity crisis management stuff is needed in the world today, because white man bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, anyway, I don't think there's not much to add to this, except let's keep going. And again,
that's right.
This is what is the saying? Nature is healing. Gaming is healing because the people who don't give a shit about video games anyway are leaving, and they're going to have to find jobs somewhere else, especially now that they're not going to get their EBT. And and the people who are going to continue to carry and do the work are going to be actual gamers who actually care about this industry, or people who are into entertainment in general, right? They're enough that they want to talk about it online and share their ideas and their passion with other people. So I welcome our new freelance game journalist overlords, and we'll see the rest of you guys later. So let me see what you guys are saying. We're going to move on to the next topic. Master Goa says, thankfully, Digital Foundry broke free from Eurogamer. We don't need Eurogamer. Digital Foundry, on the other hand, is a service we need. They are totally independent now. Some people hate Digital Foundry because of their opinions on the feminine form, but they still break down tech and do pixel analysis better than anyone. Okay. I don't use them as much, but that sounds fine. Again, like I don't know. I'm not like that much of a purist when it comes to people's opinions on things like that. I mean, because I think that if you live in the world, there are going to be people who have like ideas that are just either wrong or you disagree with them. And they can be wrong, but just don't force me to adopt your belief system. Don't demand that I do that. Don't try to shame me into it, and we'll be okay. You can be wrong all by yourself, right?
Right.
Robert Johnson says, Grok produced a magazine-length article for me in the style of Kotaku covering the October game releases this year. Boom. That's great. You know what? I'm going to copy-paste that comment into Grok and see if it actually does that. Okay.
Right.
And then I'll come back to it because I have Grok on my computer. It'll just take a second here.
Yeah,
I'm
no
just going to
worries.
paste it in and see what it does. Okay. It's working on it right now. Master Girl says unions are just communism. The commies love the worker is the hammer. Yeah, but they don't really like the workers or the farmers for that matter. They see them as useful. That's it. Just like feminists don't like women, they find them useful. So, but yes, I get what you're saying. And I believe that, yes, unions are basically precursors to communism because it assumes, this is the thing, it assumes that employers or bosses are hostile and oppressive to their employees. And so like it operates under this low trust presumption. Now, it doesn't mean that bad bosses don't exist, but the problem is that unions use force on all bosses that, you know, and that is essentially like collective guilt for a person's position.
Mhm.
So, and it's designed to build resentment over time, if not immediately. So yeah. Let me see what else. Deadly Do Right says, "Morning, gents. What's up, Deadly?" Robert Johnson says, "Playing a record on a turntable is not a hobby. Collecting albums, however, can be a hobby." Yes. Or you're a big fan of a certain band, or you want to like collecting. It is definitely like a hobby. Like if you know, like is playing Magic the Gathering a hobby? But if you collect Magic cards, it's yeah. So I see what you're saying. It's a little bit blurry there.
Right.
Don't watch people who hate you. Yes. 9/11 and its fallout reminded me of my obligation to be knowledgeable and correct. Yes. Never forget. All right. Anyway, we're gonna move on to the next story. Thank you guys for your comments, and I really appreciate you guys being here. So,
Indeed.
just something really brief. So this game, Arc Raiders, just came out, and I didn't know what the reception was going to be, but apparently it's not bad.
Right.
And this, so it's an extraction shooter, and this is like in this day and age, like another one of these. It's hard to stand out, right?
Right. I think the one that I'm most aware of at the moment is the Escape from Duckov. But that's
which we talked about.
Yeah.
And also, like basically, Helldivers 2 is still around, and it's an extraction shooter too. So
yeah.
The extraction like element has been like added in. Like you guys know that I'm big into Witchfire, and I streamed it here once, and it's an early access game, and it's also considered an extraction game. So you like deploy and you plan your route, and you go, and then you like leave, try to accomplish what you can, or just grind or whatever. It's fun to play. It's got a fun loop. And Andy Pants Gaming is basically like he's discovered it, and now he's like praising it. But so yeah, these are like a popular thing now. Arc Raiders is being met with overwhelmingly positive reception, positioning itself as one of the standout titles in the extraction shooter genre. And it's often compared favorably to Escape from Tarkov. I know you were talking about Duckov, but noting its more casual approach that lowers the barrier to entry. So, and I didn't know like what the Gamergate people are going to say about it. Obviously, it's getting, some pretty good reception. I don't think it's out yet. I think they're doing like alpha testing right now. So here's Grums. I haven't seen this video yet, but Grum says Arc Raiders looks pretty interesting. The oh shit moment here is cool. Did anyone try the alpha test yesterday or today or yesterday? So this was on May. So
right.
It kind of reminds me of Helldivers 2, to be honest.
Right.
So yeah, it's getting 9s and 8s out of 10 from CNET, Push Square, B-Bomb, Gaming Trend, Esports Insider. So there's like It's got a loot scavenging system, fighting robots. That's basically like what you're up against, are I guess evil robots, and navigating player encounters while avoiding the frustration of harsher peers like Tarkov. One dissenting voice from an older IGN preview called it aggressively archetypal, yeah, and unsurprising. But this predates the full release and contrasts with the post-launch praise. On Steam, Arc Raiders has surged to the top of the charts, outperforming Embark's previous hit, The Finals, despite the Finals, I guess, being, despite Arc Raiders being $40 and the Finals being free to play.
Right.
It peaked at 264,000 concurrent players on day one, with 89.8% positive reviews. So people are saying that there are some launch bugs like freezing from UE5 leaks which are fixable. The biggest question is staying power in a crowded genre. Will it sustain beyond the honeymoon phase? Embark's track record with the Finals raises mild skepticism because it dipped after it came out, I guess. But strong beta feedback and post-release updates suggest optimism. Compared to Bungie's Marathon reboot, which does not look promising, Arc Raiders feels like the A/B test winner per its design director. And look, I'm not interested only because my plate is quite full, but I'm sharing this because one of the other things that I'm hearing is that a lot of people are saying this is more interesting to them than Battlefield 6, which was supposed to be like the really big release, at least like this season.
Right.
And it's where I guess it's like if you're into this kind of thing, I would say that, you know, like check it out, look into it. If this is like something you'd be interested in, and let me know if you like it, if you enjoyed Arc Raiders. Out of curiosity, like I said, I'm not going to get it, but I don't have a problem with it. I just think that if something is doing well and it's worthy of praise, then we should give it praise.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
Yeah. And so we got some comments here under Grums' video. I played a few rounds last night. It's extremely polished and very fun. Embark had a hit on their hands. Day one play for me, especially considering this is Embark Studios, makers of the Finals, best competitive shooter of all time for me. Jumbo says, this is the default character Shroud was given. Seems fairly non-binary to me. So apparently you can custom make your character, which means you can make them look like this if you want. And they probably randomize your starting guy. The game is legit. Got hooked immediately. Not woke. Great execution. Well designed. Solid experience so far. So it's okay. Atmosphere and sound quality are amazing, though. Nintendo is going to sue them for stealing the jumping one-eyed monster design from their tech-tight creature from the first Legend of Zelda game. That's a joke at the expense of Nintendo.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know. Like, what do you guys think about Arc Raiders? Let's see.
I mean, for $40, it seems like it's at least a good price point to give a shot if you got money.
Yeah, I don't know.
Kind of thing,
Yeah, I don't know if it's got like microtransactions. I haven't heard anything about any of that.
Right. I couldn't say anything.
I don't think there's been a lot of complaining. And again, like I think that paid DLC is something that for most games is just going to exist, but I think there's a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it.
Right.
I think that to just presume that it should never happen or should ever exist is a little bit unrealistic, because some games like Helldivers 2, for example, that evolve over time. Like if you have like a self-contained game, like an RPG or something, right? I can understand not wanting DLC for that. Right. And if there is DLC, it should be optional. Like maybe there's additional side quests or something, like Phantom Liberty for Cyberpunk 2077. I think that's fair, because if you don't buy it, you're not missing out. You can just play the game without that part of the game, right?
Right.
But when it comes to like these sort of multiplayer, competitive co-op games,
everybody kind of needs to have the same areas. Yeah.
Huh?
I say everybody needs to be able to get in there a little bit more, because in a single player, if you don't want it, you don't need it. But the multiplayer aspect, for
multiplayer or co-op or something like that. Yeah, exactly. So, but anyway,
I'm gonna step away for half a second. I will be right back.
What's that? You got to go?
Just for a second. I'll be right back.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
If you need to, you can turn off your camera.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. Robert Johnson says Arc released Thursday. It's actually really well optimized and bug free for a title built in RE5. I don't know what RE5 is. Is that the is that Resident Evil 5? Robert Johnson then says Battlefield 6 dropped a free to play battle royale version titled RedSec in the last week as well. Deadly Do Right says Call Divers devs have shit the bed and said they were going to listen but didn't again. I'm done with it. On an unrelated note, check out Jump Space, first person shooter, and dogfighting. Jump Space is still early access. I mean, I know you. Okay, Helldivers. I knew that you meant to say that, but I wasn't sure if that was like you were like doing a dig. I play Helldivers 2 because my friend in Chicago plays Helldivers 2, and I play with him. So, Master Groa says, I think DLC is fine if it's produced after the game comes out. Yeah, but it's a little hard. You can't know like if there wasn't planned DLC anyway, unless there's like a leak or something. But yeah, I get that. Unreal Engine. Okay. Unreal Engine sounds like Reality Engine 5. Ah, I see. If DLC was produced at the same time as the game, that's not acceptable. Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, I get that. Unless I don't know. I can see that. If it's just like cosmetic things, though, I don't really see a big deal. But I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if we're gonna get away from that. Okay. So thank you guys for the comments. We're gonna move on to the next thing real quick. I think we got like a big story here, but I want to look at something a little bit smaller while John is stepped away. Did he hang up or just turn his camera off? No, he just turned his camera off. Okay. Okay. So remember last week I played that clip by Helen Andrews, who was basically doing a little bit of I guess you could say like she was reading out a presentation about what she called the Great Feminization. And I covered it on this channel. I covered it on the main channel. And I had hoped, what I was hoping would come out of that is that people in the cultural space would notice and sort of like bring it up, you know, pay attention. And I've been seeing that it's been making the rounds. So I want to show you guys, I'm not going to watch the whole video, but I want to just show you really quick that there's a channel called Call Me Chato. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing this right. Where this guy who used to work in show business, a Canadian guy that used to work in show business, and he makes videos where he basically just talks about the business of show business. And he's been on Nerdrotic. You know, I think they've done a few, what do they call them? Friday Night Tights. And he's been on that show. He's done reviews of movies and TV, but he does it from the perspective of someone who creates this content. And he has made a video about the Great Feminization. And so this is a good thing because what it means is that he's recognizing the problem. Now he's being I'm not going to play the video and I'm not going to like dog on the guy because again, it's asking too much for them to be like really red pilled on this stuff. Okay. I think that's just unreasonable. But the fact that they're even starting to explore this concept is a massive, massive thing. And that's how we should be looking at this. Okay. Because otherwise, if you let the perfect be the enemy of the good, then nothing good ever happens because it's not good enough. So he covered this for about 10 minutes and he agreed with like most of it, if not just about all of it that Helen Andrews was saying. And what I'm seeing is more and more people are noticing that wokeness itself is feminine. And that's something that I've been saying forever as well. Because it is weaponized empathy or compassion against other people, and it's not genuine. It's more about fitting in, being accepted, looking at what the people around you are saying and then like following it, like basically like mimicry of other people's claims or virtues, but it's not real, and it's all about getting along, right? And it obviously, when there's enough of that, and it doesn't necessarily mean it's women, although it's mostly women, but there are men who will go along with this programming too because they want to keep their jobs, because they want to get close to the women there, because they're afraid, whatever, right? They want to go up the corporate ladder. So
yeah, it's not. It's along with the quote unquote feminization. It's more the demasculization of
absolutely,
aspects of
yeah,
things that really stick out.
absolutely.
Because yeah, when they used to say we need to feminize the workplace, it was supposed the cover was, we just mean that women need to have more of a a presence and a representation, everything like that. And now it's like any aspect of being masculine is also in the crosshairs, because and so it creates these docile beta cucks that just kind of exist at the pleasure of getting girl bossed around.
Yeah, they're getting girl boss around, exactly. They're trying to, like I said, they're trying to protect themselves, or they're looking to exploit, in some way. You can definitely have bad actors that will use this to get ahead, to get a woman, whatever, right? This is what male feminists do a lot of the time. So it's definitely a thing that exists. So I think that this is, because if he's talking about this, then his content, and he's got a decent amount he's got like over 100,000 subscribers.
Oh yeah.
This thing is blowing up everywhere. This article, this compact article, which I covered on the show, and we watched a video last week about it. This is blowing up everywhere. And so I suspect it's only a matter of time before the big names, see it, and how they respond to it's going to matter. But I think that it's going to be pretty irrefutable. And I'm guessing that we're going to continue to move in this direction of actually observing this for what it is. So I'm happy about that. I also, there's another channel I've been watching lately. Have you guys ever heard of Jester Bell? And it's a woman YouTuber who likes to talk about movies, especially movies, superhero movies, like Marvel movies and DC movies. And she's been really, really disappointed in the MCU stuff and some of the other stuff that's coming out. And she would criticize it from a perspective of just well, here's why the stories aren't good, but she didn't really get into why that was happening, understanding the politics. And today I started watching, I haven't finished the video yet, but she's finally realized, and that's the same thing, she's finally realized that it is a political thing, and that even though she said, look, I tried to I'm trying to get out of it, I don't want to talk about politics, I just want to enjoy my thing, and I can't because it's in my face constantly.
Yeah, there's no problem with having diegetic political intrigue and things like that within the story that's being told, but when you're just taking in real world kind of day-to-day or cultural issues and putting them in situations they don't need to be there. One of the most stark examples of that was a year ago when Drag Queen Age came out on Halloween.
Yeah.
And it's what does a transing center have to do with a fantastical setting? I think that was one of the most egregious kind of moments, and if anybody couldn't see this for what it was at that point, I don't know if you ever really could, but yeah, it is good to see that people are starting to take these.
They're realizing that the thing is, you can't really avoid politics. So it's not really whether or not you can't have it at all. It's about whether or not the virtues and perspectives being shown are based in reality. So what if you because the fact is, the way that people see that they try to think of normal things, if you have a normal story of a knight fighting a dragon to rescue a princess, right, or Mario going to the castle to save Peach from Bowser, which is basically the same story, you would say, well, that's not political, but it is. That's what I'm saying, it is. But it's correct. That's there's this if you, it's just what it is. There is a truth in certain stories And that's what we resonate with. But because it's true, we think that it's just normal and there's nothing like political about it. But it is,
Right.
especially to these people who want to subvert everything and invert everything. And like, they want to do the opposite. Like the Wizard of Oz, the original Wizard of Oz is political,
Oh
but
yeah.
it's not political in the sense that people think of, where they're like, well, like, she's telling us to vote Republican. No, it's not that. What it is there's a girl who takes for granted her life, which is why she goes to Oz, and there, while she's there, she manages to befriend a bunch of strangers and help them realize their potential, and then find a way back home when she realizes that she has like no appreciation for where she comes from, right?
Right.
So she learns to appreciate where she's from, and she helps people in need, and all of that is based in a paradigm of right and wrong. Why is there a wicked witch of the West? Because she's evil. She's wicked. Why is there a good witch? Because she's good. Like the existence of good and evil matters, right? And so when they made Wicked, what did they do? They made the Wicked musical to invert everything and turn it into a story that was essentially the opposite. Well, oh no, the Wicked Witch is actually not wicked at all. She's just misunderstood.
Right.
So like that's political. Like if
and
I
all
told you
these
is
good
Wicked
people
political, you would say, oh yeah, sure.
Yeah.
What?
I saying all these good people are institutionalizing racism or what the hell ever, and yeah, it's
yeah. Right, because you're judging someone or something. But yeah, so what I'm saying is that if the inversion of something can be framed as political, then the original version is also necessarily political. It's just like the correct politics. That's all. And I know that's a controversial thing to say because people think I'm like prescribing something, but what I'm saying is that there is you can't have stories that turn things on their head if there isn't a standard way to look at them in the first place.
Right.
And when you turn something on its head, you also should reset. So Metal Gear, for example, probably still had concepts of good and evil in it, even though you could say there was a lot of other concepts being discussed, and there was a lot of dense, lore and politics going on, and a lot of concepts that were being explored.
Right.
But all of that aside, they were still, at the end of the day, there was a position of right, and then there was a position of wrong, right?
Oh, most definitely. It certainly does have, an ever-shifting paradigm of who might be in the right or who has grown corrupted over time or what have you. But and the inherent thing behind it is generally about, the livelihoods of people in general. And, that's the good that's at stake in that game. And so it can get very messy trying to hold that line. But that's generally whenever you're inhabiting a role.
Those are the good stories when it's like hard to see. You're trying to find what the right thing to do is, but even in the search to try to find the right thing to do, that suggests that there is a right thing to do.
Exactly.
And that it's not arbitrary. It's not postmodern. It's not based on your lived experience or just your opinion. No, you're like seeking the truth, and so that you can act in the correct way. You know what I mean? So there is a correct way. So anyway, so yeah, I saw that Call Me Chato brought this up, Jester Bell, and other people are talking about this more and more, and they're realizing, like Jester Bell's recent video was basically like, yeah, like it's important that we stop attacking men in our media and masculinity. And it's not even just because, like this, how it affects women, but for men themselves. So, and that's, the stories we tell they really matter. They're like everything. So, anyway.
And even if you don't see politics in something, if someone sees their politics needing to be seen in it, then now you actually have to go and say, oh, well, open your eyes to the wider thing. If the politics is going to get injected in there in such an overt way, and counter to what was already there to begin with, then yes, that does suggest that you have to take the time to defend your position and actually try to hold on to the stories and things like that that matter. There can always be new stories, and if you're political, whatever it is that important to you, go and write something inspiring that will actually speak to people without having to rely on familiar branding and labeling of IPs that have existed in franchises for quite some time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's it definitely has gotten to the point though where I think people that you would say these things to, even 2-3 years ago, especially like 5-10 years ago, that wouldn't see it, couldn't see it, just, oh, you're being conspiratorial, you're just being pessimistic, you're black-pilled, what the hell ever. Now it's at this point in time, the encroaching reality of it all is kind of getting too stark to ignore.
All right, well, let us know what you guys think about this one in the comments. What do you think about like what appears to be a vibe shift happening in terms of like how people are seeing things? And also like, yeah, I mean, this concept of like avoiding, like doing whatever you can to like turn a blind eye to the politics happening around you. I don't think you can avoid it. The saying goes, you may not be interested in politics, but politics is interested in you. So you might as well try to figure out what your values are, figure them out so that you know where you stand on things. And that way you're prepared. And you know what? It's relieving. It's not stressful. The worst thing that'll happen is you lose some people around you that probably were never your friends to begin with. So trust me, I know. All right, but anyway, let me look at some of your comments and we'll move on to the next thing. So Robert Johnson says, it's a win, no doubt. Yes, it is. Mr. 0303 says, if a game has day one DLC, I don't buy it. That's fair. Robert Johnson says, sneaky effers, referring to male feminists. Yes. Norwegian Black Templar says, it's important to remember that male feminists aren't born, they're raised. The people who raise them deserve to get shit on as well. Well, yeah, we do it all the time. Master Goa says, the boss's wisdom should never be forgotten. From what the boss from Metal Gear Solid 3. Yeah. And then he says, I don't think the vibe is shifting enough. Well, you got to like give it time. Considering, let's look at it this way, okay? This propaganda campaign waged against us has been going on for longer than we were alive. Like all of us, myself included. It's not a recent thing. I was talking to my wife about this yesterday, and because I was thinking about like old TV shows, like old, because remember, before video games, the way we put propaganda out there was in our media that was like television, radio, movies, magazines, and books. Okay. And yeah, I mean, yeah, I think that's basically what we see. It wasn't just activists. It wasn't just academics giving speeches or essays or whatever. It was in all of our media. And we were talking about the boomers, basically the people that were the hippies of the 1960s. And I was driving Lindsay to work, and she brought up the boomers, kind of in a frustrated way. But I said I'm sympathetic to the boomers because the thing is that they were living in a time where they get all their information from television. They didn't have the ability, unless they did a lot of like
it was very centralized
to learn. Yeah, it was all contained. It was all sort of like curated for them to absorb, and then they did. And then those people end up growing up and they're creating more of the content. So, the let's just say that the subversion runs deep and it's very old. It's older than us. Okay. So if it took 60 years to like do this, and we're starting to unravel it in just 10, I think that's actually amazing, because it is that old. Like they will, the people who create propaganda today, they're trying to essentially tell you about history by rewriting it, and they reference history that was already rewritten. So they're referencing stuff that was already altered to push forth a narrative, claiming it's real, and then they're rewriting it even more to
Right.
suit whatever their comfort level is, right?
Right.
And there are people working tirelessly to unravel all of that. I mean, the most sacred cows, okay,
Mhm.
in that you would never think we should be questioning are being questioned now,
Oh,
and it's
yeah.
going mainstream.
Yeah.
So I think that you could say that it's not shifting enough. I get it, but if we become impatient, we could break what we started. I think that we have to look at it in the big picture sense. Things are changing really fast,
Mhm.
considering how long it was put in place. And the reason why is because I think that the truth can like kill lies very fast as well.
Right. You know,
So
it's a crazy thing too to me, like, when you look at history, and how it applies to, the injection of feminization, these things have been there, for a
yeah,
long, 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 long time. And, it's one of those things that, the feminist rally cry of, "This is why women should be in power, because look at all the destruction men have wrought," right? And then you look
yeah,
at the
sure,
last 60 years of social degradation and decay and everything like that that's kind of come from this impetus to, feminize, things. And I think that, they kind of injected themselves with their own poison pill by going and taking this into their, control apparatus, right?
hmm,
This idea to demasculize, men, and to just feminize all aspects of social interaction, um, publicly, privately, all these sorts of things. And, you know, uh, because, it's built on these weird suppositions and, kind of just, prejudiced beliefs and ideologies and things like that,
yeah,
uh, they when you're trying to operate something like that and make it all about feelings and, you know, kind of, more, uh, supposedly, feminine sensibilities and things like that, it works against their whole control state, and that's why I think we have seen the, the structure collide, because, they don't have the strong men as pillars to hold up their bullshit. And, they've exposed themselves by being too overt, in such a way, because this has been going on for such a long time, but their comfort level becoming more and more, um, I guess, just, prevalent throughout the last 20, 30, 40 years, and getting, it's like a train. It takes a while
yeah.
to get going, but once it gets up to speed, anything that gets in front of it's going to get hit with terminal velocity. So, and it's crashing through a wall now. It's getting derailed, and there's no way to stop it, which is actually going to be a
Hmm.
good thing, because this is the correction that needs to happen. But yeah,
Yeah.
for women that are always like, there's not anything a woman can do or a man can do that a woman can't do. It's like, and they talk about men destroying the world. It's like, well, yeah, look what you did in just a matter of, 60 short years.
Yeah, right.
So
Right. And
a
it
co-
wasn't just, I mean,
achievement
obviously it
unlocked.
wasn't just women, it was the
Right,
men
right,
who enabled them.
right. The
But yeah, it was
feminization
just it's a
itself.
mindset. It's a mindset of
Right,
security over liberty, and that's how we got there. But Dean Domino, I'm gonna read some more comments and then
indeed.
let's move
Pressed on.
forward. I get
Yep.
that it's quick compared to the amount of time this propaganda has been around, but I think we have much more limited window than they did. Yeah, but I don't I wouldn't I'm just asking to not allow yourself to be black pilled by that, because I think that's what they want. Like ultimately, what they want is for you to think that there's everything is pointless, and then they
Mhm.
win. And that's
Right.
like the last thing you should do. Um, Master Goa says, I think the hippies is where everything went wrong. They were too busy getting high to understand what was happening, and they all became massive hypocrites. Uh, yeah, I mean, you could also argue that the beatniks were the predecessors to the hippies, and then you had like the old school communists before that. But ultimately, there's always been like a segment of the population that, well, no, I think you're right about the hippies. Ultimately, because they were like on a mass scale looking, for civil rights
Right.
stuff,
But
they were
and
they were agitated by the communists
right,
ultimately,
and the hippie movement was also another one of those things that was,
and it
in
wasn't
many ways
peaceful.
CIA directed and
Yeah, it
put
wasn't
into.
peaceful.
That's
So,
right.
mhm.
But but yeah, I mean that's a big part of it, all that stuff. But there's also other things that add to the social corrosion
Yeah,
and the overall corruption of like corporatist driven mindsets aiming for globalism in general.
yeah,
It's hard to pick out any one specific thing and say that's the thing. It's like it's the whole plate of spaghetti, all the noodles kind of just interlaced
for sure.
and congealed around each other.
Right.
Yep.
So let's move on to the next thing. First of all, I want to show you guys. Brock did produce an article, or in the style, just like you said, October's pixelated pumpkin spice, the spookiest, bloodiest, and most backlog busting month in gaming history. I mean, this is a bit overblown, but it could pass as a straight up article by Grok, the AI who'd rather be slaying demons and sorting emails. And it goes through the games that were released.
Hmm.
Ghost of Yotei, Battlefield 6, Pokemon Legends, Ninja Gaiden 4, Outer Worlds 2. I heard bad things about that one.
Hmm.
Spooky season specials, the horror that'll make you sleep with the lights on, Little Nightmares 3, Vampire the Masquerade, Bloodlines 2, Indie Darlings. And look at that. This is a more robust article than
Yeah, I
anything
was
that
gonna
other
say,
Summer Conte.
Grok is doing like the work of 5 articles
Yeah,
with the
right?
content from what you get.
So it's all ogre for for journo cells. So
Indeed.
yeah, just another stake in the heart of games journalists. All right. So let's move on to the next thing. So, GameStop declares the console wars over. uh,
Indeed.
First of all, well, GameStop is still around. Before you guys, they're still around, but I don't know if they're doing nearly as well as they used to. Um, and it's kind of a joke because Halo Combat Evolved came out on PlayStation,
Uh,
like a remake of the original Halo came out on
yeah,
PlayStation. I think
yeah.
running
The
on Unreal
campaign
5 or
edition is
something.
what. Yeah, campaign edition is what they call it because it doesn't have the
Yeah,
multiplayer side of it. But
campaign evolved. That's right. You're right. You're right. It was.
yeah,
Um. So yeah, that came out, and I'm not going to talk about that because I don't know. Like I know a lot of people didn't like this release, and some did. I don't know, but it is interesting that um basically like the idea that the console wars are over because they put Halo on Xbox, kind of hilarious to me.
right.
And but Nintendo still exists, so that it's not over yet. And Sega could make a console. We could get the return of Nintendo versus Sega. No, I don't know about that, but yeah. So I thought this was kind of funny that
Right.
they said that. And speaking of Halo, because that's kind of what I wanted to use this to get into something else.
Hmm.
Um, the White House put out a tweet that blew up the internet for a while.
Just a
And
bit. Might
just
have
a bit, yeah,
yeah. Yeah, I mean, it caused such a stir. It's actually what the thumbnail for today's show is. I just simply just
yeah.
put in Master Commander in Chief because I thought, why has
Master
nobody
Commander in
used?
Chief. That's right.
Yeah, I can't believe nobody said that one yet. So I was like, I'll do it. No one else is gonna.
Yeah. So they put out this tweet, and it wasn't well received by some. And so
That's putting it mildly.
what yeah, so like I want to show you guys some things. So there's a lot of memes of Halo, a lot of Halo memes. GameStop even got made a tweet which got retweeted
Hmm.
of Trump shaking hands with Master Chief. President Trump presides over the end of the 20-year console wars.
Right.
Presides over the end of the. Yeah, I know. I think like the thing is though, I didn't really get a console this generation, and that's a first for me because I've been getting consoles since the 8-bit NES. Like
Right.
every generation, I had one. I had the NES, I had the Sega Genesis, the Super NES, I had the original PlayStation, I had the Sega Saturn, I got the GameCube, the PS2, the Xbox, the PS3, the PS4, and then that was it. I didn't get anything else after that.
Right.
Yeah.
My one of my brothers
I even had an
just
Atari Jaguar for a little
yeah.
while.
Well, speaking of Atari, one of my brothers is just slightly older than you, so I actually was rocking. We had an Atari 2600.
I mean, I had an Atari 2600, but there was a gap there. I didn't
right.
I didn't get like the 52 or the 78 or the ColecoVision or any of those in
Right.
between games consoles. So I'm saying I was consistent from the 8-bit NES on.
Gotcha. Yeah. I'd say same thing for myself up until I got the boat anchor that I call my PS5.
Yeah.
At this point, and some good news, that computer that was supposed to be arriving from the UK. Last I know, it is finally in my own time zone. It was in the sorting
Yeah.
house in Chicago, got released out of customs. So hopefully in the next week or so, I will be able to get that. And I'm thinking of taking out the, I think I've got a 2 terabyte SSD in there, and finally just selling this PS5 off, because it's like I'm not really ever going to use it for anything at this point, because it's consoles are irrelevant now. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Once a console loses exclusives,
Mm-hmm.
like what's the point, right? You might as well just get it. And the thing is too is I'm just playing on PC because the I don't know. I just don't. I look. The main thing I liked about consoles, and I still like about consoles, is that I can play them on my couch.
Right.
And of course, I could hook my PC up to my couch, but it's just too much trouble. So that's the main thing that I'm missing out on is the couch.
Well, at this point in time, because you do have Steam library, you can easily get that accomplished these days with just.
I
Steam.
do. I have. Yep. I have. Well, I could like get it a little bit better, but I've managed. There's a way to like put this program called Moonlight on your
Moonlight and
Fire
Sunshine,
Stick, and then you can like But the problem is the Fire Stick. There's a tiny bit of lag when you play.
Right.
So
right.
that works for some games, but a lot of them no, it doesn't.
Yeah. It definitely works best if you got a hardline connection, because there will always be a little bit of latency in doing some stuff like that. But it definitely has gotten a lot better, because my setup that I use, it's built around having Steam Link as a connection portal, because that's how I still get into my laptop these days, to go and get files and take them out and put them in my Google Drive and then download them again to the Steam Deck, without having to go and change this setting with the remote and all this kind of stuff. It's just so I don't know. It's the versatility, especially one of the things of interest in all of this debacle that kind of came out of the end of the console wars blowing up. Microsoft saying that their next console is set to come out for probably about $1,500, and it's like at that point in time you are buying a mid-range PC. Might as well just get one and actually have the ability to use it for all sorts of things, rather than just a very modular, path that it can follow. So
yeah. To be honest, if you leave out the the Nintendo thing,
mm-hmm.
Which they're still around, because I think Nintendo has like
Nintendos are Nintendos. I think
Nintendos are Nintendos, and you leave out the PC Master Race, which is like its own thing. The console wars weren't really wars. Like I looked at the data on this, and most of the console generations, from like getting away from like the old Sega versus Nintendo thing, which I think Nintendo won anyways, pretty decisively at the end of the day. PlayStation basically led in almost like by a lot in almost every generation, with the exception of PS3 and Xbox 360. And I think then it was really close. And I think that maybe the Xbox edged it out a little bit, but like PS2 and PS4 and PS1, they all dominated. PS2 especially dominated.
Oh yeah.
And PS5 does better than Xbox. What is it? Xbox One or
it's Xbox Series X now.
Oh, as Xbox Series X.
Xbone was where everything really, that was their bonehead maneuver, because historically PS3 came out and they said some pretty outlandish, arrogant kind of things, and a lot of gamers were like, "Fuck that noise! I'll try out this Xbox system, the 360." And the fabric of gaming at that point in time was definitely altered, because it did seem like Microsoft was, oddly enough, being a very customer oriented company rather than a
Hmm.
consumer mindset kind of driven thing, it seemed. And so there was a lot of good faith going that Microsoft was gaining. um, but then they did the whole thing with the Xbox, or the Xbox One rather, I guess, the Xbone, and completely derailed everything. I've never considered getting an Xbox system since they wanted to put a surveillance system inside my house and have it use up 30% of the overall processing at all points in time. So it doesn't even matter if you have high end equipment in there, 30% of the processing is caught up in the mix, and it's constantly having to multitask with all these background processes that don't apply to the game that I'm trying to play. Then
Yeah.
it's all just wasted potential, and you're not actually able to deliver something good. And then their multi-tier console release style that they put into implementation at that point in time, and you always have to build for your weakest link, and you can have the enhancements there, but it's it's been a whole bunch of half steps and everything like that. So and the time that it takes to really get the full usage life out of a good graphics card, and have to replace it, there's probably been two console generations or half steps in between. So you might as well just buy PCs, save your money where you can in the long term. And it
Well, I was
because
just
because consoles have lost their identity.
yeah, yeah, no, for sure. Well, the thing I thought it was a funny thing
Yeah.
because again, Halo going to Xbox. I mean, like it's sort of um yeah, it's just kind of humorous. I mean, they already did this with Helldivers too. Anyway, when it released on Xbox,
Right.
we
Right.
already saw the writing on the wall. So, and
Right.
also
Well,
Gears of War was coming to PlayStation. Like
right.
it's
Right.
on
Well,
PS5
yeah.
now.
But I think that that's also the main thing too, though, is Halo's in many ways Master Chief is, even though he's not the traditional mascot, so just indistinguishable from
He is
Xbox
the
as a
Xbox
brand,
brand. Yeah,
that
yeah, for
for the
sure.
longest time. So to have that, if there wasn't one thing that Microsoft was expected to compromise on, it was Master Chief. But we've
Yeah.
seen we've seen how that's played out over the last number of years. So, and honestly, there's been so much damage to Halo as a franchise due to the work of 343 Studios and everything like that, um, that they almost have to do this in a way just to try to shore up a user base of people that might be willing to give them another chance. But I I I do think it's great, all the memes and everything like that. But it doesn't mean that I'm necessarily gonna forgive Halo for what it's become, and the people that are in charge of it these days
For sure.
certainly aren't to be trusted. So, but it is great the way that it's been getting used in the
Yeah,
memes.
and the memes are good. That's kind of like what I wanted to talk about. So
Yeah.
the and look, it's just a weird way to look at this, but the fact that you have like the White House making Halo memes, and
Right.
it's mostly probably because they know what the like, here's one from Homeland Security.
Mhm.
Finishing this fight, destroy the flood, join ice.gov.
Yep. Yeah. This is the one that triggered a lot of people.
Oh, this one really pissed some people off. And you know what? That's what I like to see. I
Yep.
think that this when you see who gets pissed off about this is kind of like what the main story is. So
Mhm.
I said, is Halo left wing? And that's what I was asking because the rage that people had towards these memes
Mhm.
is basically they're saying Halo is not for fascists. That's how they're
Right.
describing it.
Right. It's like,
Here's
did you ever
one.
pay attention to the USMC?
Yes. How are the
Like,
players make Halo woke again? And this is not a parody account.
right.
They want the troon and whatever. I don't know what this flag represents. Maybe
I think
like
that's just supposed to be a pride
pansexual
in.
flag or something.
Oh God,
I
you're
have
right.
no idea.
It is a different color bar set. Who knows? There's like
Yeah.
they have 87
So
different flags. It's all a color revolution.
yeah,
And
they're angry. They're
yeah.
they're angry. They're big mad. And what's funny too is that like it was it like some of the big names got mad. Joe, Angry
Mhm.
Joe.
Yeah. Somebody
Um
needs to get him a Snickers. He's
Pissed
a little bit
Pedro,
angry.
you know?
Hmm. Yeah, no, it's been interesting weeks watching the TDS on display and
Yeah.
all the other kinds of mental fractures that have been
Maybe we
exposed.
should find out what his citizenship status is. Maybe there's a reason why he's upset. Maybe we should look into that. But yeah, like
Indeed.
Angry Joe, the Act Man, he was trying to like claim, and look, I'm not super like knowledgeable on the Halo lore, but he
Hmm.
tried to normalize the flood and like basically as a response to the flood meme that I
Right,
just shared, this
right.
one.
Yep.
He was like, well, what if the flood, what if they're just looking for jobs and homes though? Um,
But they're not. They're
is it
looking
a
to.
joke? I don't know. You
Right,
know,
right. One would certainly hope that that was said
yeah,
firmly tongue in cheek, because if that was meant with any kind of, oh, they're just misunderstood. No, the flood is pretty straightforward in its intention. It's called a flood because it's going to wash all over you, and they're going to do an ethnic cleansing of sorts, of getting rid of humanity, so they can use
yeah.
everything about Halo is steeped in
Religious
aspects of
allegory.
religious allegory and everything like that.
Yeah.
um I know
Maybe that's why it's successful.
right,
I
the
don't know. I don't
Covenant.
know if people. I mean, I know that ultimately people enjoy Halo for the gameplay. I think,
Right,
right?
right.
The
I
shooting
would say
mechanics
primarily the
themselves were really
mechanics
good.
themselves, and yeah, and the story's just kind of there with it, but it does motivate it forward, and it does anchor it to something, um,
Yeah,
that you can at least kind of, all the pieces that are in play, that you are, using, through the mechanic system and everything like that. They all have like a diegetic reason of being that way. Um, but yeah, a lot of people were freaking out about how it's never been this right wing kind of mindset or anything. It's like, do you know the design team that made that game? I believe it's the guy who did the music for it. I believe he's running for
he
some
is.
public office.
He
Yeah,
is. Yeah, he is a right wing guy. The guy who did the composer is
yeah,
right wing.
yeah,
Yes.
I, yeah.
So here's Angry Joe's reply of the screenshot of this Destroy the Flood. He says, fuck ICE and fuck Donald Trump. Get the fuck out of here with using Halo for your shitty, dehumanizing police state propaganda. No one thinks your shit is cool besides low IQ, herder MAGA cult members on X, half of which are bots. Y'all gonna find out soon in the next election.
Okay.
Yikes. And then Endymion reposts him and said this goes back to what I was saying before about like, like, oh, I don't want to deal with the politics. You there's no avoiding this, guys. Like
Mm,
these people see everything as a vehicle for their political views, and we have to fight them, we have to beat them, we have to demolish them. And I mean ideologically,
right,
argumentatively, so
right,
that we can have real conversations, because they're in the way of actual conversations. They're an
right,
obstacle because they're looking at, destroying everything, free everything, open the border up. Let's spend all of our money on like, fucking single moms and welfare queens. Let's fight endless wars, whatever. We don't want any of that. We want to like normality. We don't want to
right,
we don't want to transition our kids. We don't
right,
want communists in our schools. We don't want any of that shit, and they're preventing us from having like serious conversations about things that actually matter because they're in the way with their bullshit, like
right.
first
Well,
puppy issues. And
well,
so you can't really avoid it. You have to confront them.
right. And the irony is these people with their ideology, they are like the flood very much, in the sense that
Huh.
they are trying to just do this cultural erasure and all this kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
so the Spartans in this regard are the people that are trying to hold the line and keep this ever pervasive flood
Mm-hmm.
at bay, and if not, drive it back and eliminate it from the situation. So I I mean, when Halo is getting utilized for these memes about ice and things like that, I can totally see how someone could go and, because memes are pretty open to interpretation, because they're more often than not just intended as a good way to get a laugh and kind of, expand your thoughts on some things and see connections and this and that within something. It's a visual simile. You know,
Yeah.
um, but these people who cannot meme, to save their life, they don't understand even what they're for, let alone how to, so they couldn't actually ever understand how to make them, because they don't look for levity in anything. Even if you don't necessarily agree with certain aspects of it, because like I said, I give two shits less about Halo, but I thought all this stuff was quite hilarious, and it's like it's worthwhile in that for people to at least kind of go and express their fandom in a way that touches on things and just the aspects of their lives where it's like, yeah, no, I can see that in that, because it's funny. That's all it has to be. But these other people that are just like, you can't be making these jokes. It's just it's concern trolling and just a nanny state mentality. It's hilarious.
So basically, Endymion is making the argument that Halo has conservative elements if it isn't like overtly conservative in its beliefs, because of the biblical allegories, because of the fact that it's based in war, because of when it came out, what was happening in the world when the game came out, when the original one came out. So here's a tweet. And what's this about a flood or an ark? Probably nothing. Totally materialist and devoid of any symbolism. Halo is not subtle.
Right. And, I'm sure that covenant doesn't mean anything either.
Yeah, the covenant doesn't mean anything. Nah. And of course, Joe is just angry. He's just like saying, oh, bring up a bunch of unrelated points about Halo, like religious themes, its music, game plot, and soundtracks, composer, and stupid shit to defend literal propaganda from the government because he has no idea what he's talking about and got his feelings hurt about a tweet completely unrelated to him. What have you become? So yeah, this guy has no arguments.
Mm-hmm.
But this isn't like the left is losing their shit about this. And so I want to show you guys this guy. There's a channel called The Humanist Report with 700,000 subscribers that made a video called Gamers Go Scorched Earth on Trump Regime Over Its Use of Halo for Fascist Propaganda. Now, this is actually propaganda, because what he's trying to do is he's trying to say the left isn't putting up with this and we are the majority, because this is like the thing that they operate off of consensus. Okay.
Right.
Which means if there are more of them that believe something, that like if their side is more in number and they believe something, then you're the problem because you haven't adopted it. But it only works if they think they are more, or if they can make you believe that they are more, but they're not more. And that's obvious by the election that happened. They're not to say that they're a very small minority, but they're not the majority. And so this guy made a video, and he like, so let's just look at the buzzwords. I'm going to jump ahead. I have a time code here. We're going to go to here. And look, maybe this guy plays Halo, maybe he doesn't. I think that these people see everything as an opportunity to push their propaganda on us. So
is really the straw that broke the camel's back. And I have to give you some additional context so you understand why fans of the series were so outraged by that particular tweet. And spoiler warning for all of the PlayStation players who've never played before, but the Flood, which they reference, is a parasitic alien species that you discover in the game that you have to kill by all means necessary, because as Halopedia explains, the Flood reproduces and spreads by infecting other organisms, hijacking their bodies and nervous systems in order to transform them into one of many specialized forms. Through infecting sentient life forms, the Flood assimilates their memories and intelligence, and the species becomes collectively more intelligent as a result. Because of their frighteningly rapid growth rate, as long as enough hosts of sufficient biomass and intelligence are available, the Flood is effectively unstoppable. In other words, the threat of the Flood is so severe that an ancient, more advanced alien species known as the Forerunners built super weapons known as Halos to wipe out all life in the galaxy to stop the spread of the Flood, because if there's no life for them to leech off of, then they can't grow and spread. In other words, the Forerunners believed that this parasitic alien threat was so severe that it was justifiable to destroy all life in the galaxy just to stop them. And that right there is what Homeland Security is saying immigrants are akin to. The Flood.
I mean, what are you trying to convince me? Because I'm already convinced.
So you see what he's doing there, right, guys?
Right.
That are watching in the chat. You see what he's doing. He's trying to say that the Department of Homeland Security plans to annihilate illegal aliens, not just send them back, annihilate them because they made a comparison. Right. Norwegian Black Templar says the current state of Europe proves ICE right. Yeah, this guy does. He's an asshole. But let's keep going. There's a little bit more to this.
But they're saying immigrants are such a severe threat that atrocities are warranted to stop them from invading and spreading.
No, because no one's committing atrocities. You're lying. You're lying. Right. You're just lying about these people at this point. Right. You're making like they used a meme from Halo, probably because Halo just came out on PlayStation. So they were like, here's an opportunity to make a relevant meme. And they use Halo for the meme. And you're saying, oh, they want to genocide the illegals. This is how dishonest and scummy these people are.
Right. And the thing of it is too is you know, the illegal immigration aspect of it is just a small part of it. When he was sitting there reading his whole little thing about what the flood is, that is the progressive liberalist mindset at play. You know, that's truism and all this kind of crazy shit, you know, like accept my pronouns, dude, and you know, all this kind of stuff. That is what, you know, the covenant is ultimately saying, yeah, it would be better just to scorch earth everything than to have that be what the world becomes. And it does mirror some aspects of our society, but it goes much wider than just an immigration issue. That's why it's just kind of said as a joke. And that's what stories are for, so that you can kind of actually understand things within your own real world, and something that you can kind of, you know, work with to at least kind of have a model of, you know, what these things could play out like and things like that. And, you know, Halo in some ways is a call sign and a warning of all the things that we're living through now. It's just, it's doing it with, you know, alien and space marines and, you know, all this kind of stuff as the surface layer. But it's actually talking about the human condition and how, you know, that's under attack by these forces that are completely, you know, whether they would even realize or not, are kind of demonically motivated. And so there is going to be a harsh clash in the battlefields of that arena. But ultimately, it's, you know, the Spartans' whole thing in that is they're still trying to hold on to humanity. And so they've created their super soldiers and they've done all this kind of stuff. And you can argue whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. But that's what it's basically talking about, is if you don't learn how to, you know, take a joke and allow humanity to thrive, you are the flood. You are the thing that is going to, you know, I have hope for humanity, but I lack faith in society, especially these socialists that are parasitic in their intent, you know, because they will ultimately crush out any aspect of humanity to maintain that social structure. Yeah. Exactly.
So this guy, by the way, this channel, the Humanist Report, is part of the Young Turks Network. So that's where you might find the talking points.
He's starting to look like an aged out hipster. But he didn't used to have such a lumberjack
Timu
beard.
Vosh, according to Robert Johnson. Timu Vosh. Okay.
That is why fans of Halo were so taken aback by this post, because it is despicable. And the people who understand Halo lore see that this is a level of dehumanization of immigrants that is comparable to the propaganda that Nazis disseminated to demonize Jews in the 1930s.
Oh my God, what is this timeline? We're doing the Nazis again. Okay. Anyway, so this this guy's a scumbag. Let's put another time code here. So let's see. Now he's going to blame Microsoft and Nintendo's silence, because there was, I think there was also like a reference to a Nintendo thing as well that may have been tweeted out.
Fights, it knows it can win, but kept its mouth tight.
Yeah, because they used Pokemon. Remember the Pokemon thing that the Department of Homeland Security did?
Got to catch them all,
like, the immigrants being, so.
Zipped when Homeland Security used Pokemon to promote violent immigration raids. A representative told PC Gamer that Microsoft does not have anything to share on this matter, which is interesting for a corporation hyper-obsessed with their image and brand, but to understand why Microsoft is taking this position, all you have to do is follow the money. As CBS News reports, Microsoft doesn't want to upset President Neck Pussy because they stand to lose hundreds of millions of dollars in federal contracts if they do. In fact, they're one of multiple big tech companies kissing his fat ass by funding his ballroom in order to stay in his good graces. That's what explains their deafening silence. But as Andy mentioned, Nintendo took the same bitch-ass approach after DHS shared a video of ICE arresting immigrants with the caption "Gotta catch 'em all" to the tune of the Pokemon theme song. They also spliced in scenes from the anime, and even though the Pokemon company issued a statement saying that they didn't give them permission to use their IP, they did fuck all to get it taken down, which is stunning because if you so much as hum the Pokemon theme song, Nintendo will send ninjas to your home to rip off your fucking head and shit down your throat. We're talking about one of the most litigious companies in all of gaming, but yet they have no interest in stopping their IP from being used for fascist propaganda. It is so pathetic. But to get
all right, let's address this really quick. Do you guys think that if the left was in charge, they would have any issue using their propaganda of any kind to like force people to, to adopt their views? Do you think that they would do that? These people are they're not hypocrites, because being a hypocrite means you care about your consistency. They only believe in power. So when they don't have it, they call you a hypocrite until they have it. Then hypocrisy doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
So kissing Trump's ass is leagues better than kissing Jenks. You never know which animals has been inside that cavern. Eek. Look, this guy's trying to get people to believe that Nintendo and Microsoft are only motivated by greed. And I think that what they're doing is they're motivated by, well, first of all, yes, Microsoft does have military contracts to the government, and they want to keep those. That's not greed, that's self-preservation. I have lots of criticisms of Bill Gates. I can have lots of criticisms of Microsoft as a company, but I'm not going to say that their problems is that they support a fascist, because that's just not true. Okay?
Right.
Their sins are many. That is not one of them. Okay. So I'm sorry, but I care more about fairly representing people's positions than just shitting on people for like having bad practices or whatever. So
and at the same time, they'll defend people working at Kinko's who won't let customers get posters of Charlie Kirk made, things like that. And so it's perfectly fine when companies are doing stuff for censorship or what the hell ever, and that's just some line level employee. If you're the owner of something, you're allowed to have generally the right to refusal, and just by that you're also allowed to have the right to acceptance. And if someone makes them mean and they don't come after you, they have that right. It's not like because your feelings got hurt and the people who actually own it aren't affected. It doesn't mean that they're somehow in the wrong. It just means that they don't give two shits about it enough to make it a thing. It's pretty obvious that it was just a meme, and it's not really saying much of anything.
No, it's just a meme.
Brand interaction or anything like that. Like that's reading way too much into it.
Okay, so I didn't know Lee made a press-on beard. So here's another soundbite.
People have had enough.
You stupid, stinky bitch. The AAA gaming industry isn't fucked up because of forced diversity. It's fucked up because of greed, which is incentivized by capitalism, which you should know, seeing as how it's the economic system that you shill for on a daily basis. But I mean, think of how idiotic this line of thinking is. At a time when corporations like Microsoft are buying up studios and shutting them down, at a time when thousands of game developers are being laid off despite the success of their games, simply to shore off corporate profits, they get fired anyway, at a time when companies are releasing unfinished games and raising prices, nickel and diming us with microtransactions and paid DLC here and there, this dumb motherfucker somehow convinced himself that the industry is in shambles because developers can't make good games because they're forced to hyper-focus on diversity to appease the woke left.
Well, it's hilarious. He lists off a whole bunch of, effects from the cause, but he fails to see the cause, even though all the effects...
he doesn't fail to see it. No.
Yeah, I know. He doesn't
He's
fail to say
lying
these.
to you.
Right,
He is
right.
lying.
But
I'm playing this clip to remind you guys why we should hate these people way more than
right,
our own people. Like these people are the enemy. And look, I
right,
don't want to hate anybody, but they need to like be completely defeated. Like
right,
they have
and
to be defeated. He blames capitalism. Of course they do. Fucking communists. That's all they know how to do.
right,
And then doesn't see that. Well, no, that's not true. Doesn't want to admit
right.
that hiring unqualified people because of their plumbing or their skin color is what is destroying those companies, and that they deserve to fail because of that. That's what capitalism, as you
Right.
guys call it, does. When you don't make something worth something, then it fails. That's how it should
Right.
go.
And
You know?
and for capitalism to thrive, it actually has to work in parity with its customer base and things like that, which is what we're seeing, which is why all these people are losing their jobs, because they're sitting here and not serving the actual customers. They're serving the ideologies and all this kind of stupid bullshit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is an intentional misread. This is complete spin and conjecture
Yeah.
that he's putting out
You're
there.
just lying. You're
Right.
just lying.
Right.
And you're doing it on purpose because everything that you make a video on, you have a certain number of goals. 1, attack Trump somehow. 2, attack right-wing people. 3, attack Christians. That's why you call it the Humanist Report, because you think that you have somehow rationally come to this moral, virtuous paradigm on your own without any pretense, like completely out in a vacuum of time and space. And also, you have to attack capitalism. That's what you guys always do. It's like you're incredibly predictable. Incredibly
Right.
predictable.
I think they go after capitalism because if they actually called it going after corporatism, people can see the similarities between corporate structures and communist control structures. And that's kind of what it is. Is corporatism is kind of like communism being interjected into the capitalist framework, and it starts doing these things where it's all about collectives and it doesn't want small independent operations and things like that. We need proliferation of things, And if large scale companies are casting people off, well, guess what? If you got the talent, skill, and ability, and you actually have the drive to do this stuff, it's not going to stop you just because you don't have your, AAA job or what the hell ever. This 2025, as I've said a couple times in recent weeks, is very much the year of the indies. If you know what the fuck you're doing in terms of making games and this and that, you don't need these large overarching structures of power.
Yeah,
so
but then they don't get to, because again they're not interested in what works. They're interested in tearing everything down.
Right.
They can replace it with their own vision, which is it's the flood. Like that's what they want to do.
Yes.
So
yes.
And yeah, you got. I mean, I swear, you keep saying these people dehumanize, but I'm pretty sure you're the ones that drove people to murder because they dehumanize so much. Not us. We didn't kill anybody. Y'all did. Y'all did that, and you're gonna find a way to blame it on something else instead of accepting what you've done. But anyway,
for this amazing rant,
I'm gonna make this clear. If you're just coming here to get into this weird,
he's playing Assassin's Creed Shadows, worst performing Assassin's Creed game in the entire franchise, by the way.
Fucking race shit about a historical figure that existed in Japanese history, I'm just going to remove you. And guess what? That means you ain't going to be around for Kazan or Night Rain or AI Limit or any of that shit. I don't give a fuck what your opinion is of this game. I don't care. Your opinion is worthless to me. The quality of health of my morning shit had a bigger impact on my thought process today than you being upset that there's a black guy in Assassin's Creed. So shut the fuck up. All right? We're not doing this shit. It's a fucking video game. If you are upset that there's a black guy in a video game, fuck off. I don't want you here. I don't care. Stop. I'm not doing this fucking argument. Every goddamn game these days. Oh, it's woke. Oh, there's a black guy. Oh, there's a trans person. Shut the fuck up. Either play the game or go the fuck outside, bro. It's not that hard. God damn. I've been on this earth 37 fucking years. When I was a kid, guess what? If a game came out and I didn't want to get involved with it, I didn't fucking play with it. I didn't go on the internet and cry like an entitled little child. Wah, 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 wah. The game doesn't have stuff that I want. So So shut the fuck up and leave, bro.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know who this guy is. I guess he's like a big streamer, though.
Right.
But, I mean, look, are you still playing that game, bro? Because I don't think you are. I bet you're not. Because it's kind of shit. And also, if it's trying to be historically accurate, guess what? People are going to be like, well, that's not correct.
Right.
If you're not claiming it, then it doesn't matter. So
right. And if you're just wanting to make a fictional character with a black ninja, don't base it on someone who has an actual real world historical account that runs counter to your, the things that you're trying to interject into that story. Because at that point in time, that is revisionism. It's not it's in no way historical.
Again, like, I didn't buy the game. I didn't play the game.
Right.
So like I did exactly what you're saying I should do.
Yep.
And that's probably why it didn't sell well, because people listen.
Right. It's like, you don't like it, don't buy it. All right, cool. And then I'm gonna tell you the reason why I didn't buy it, because maybe I actually bought the things previous to that, and I'm trying to say, hey, if you want to mend fences here and have me do business with you, get this shit out of the game. And then
man, you just don't like video games when they have black people in it. That must be it. That's it. It's not this game. It's all games all the time, everywhere, for all of history, all media, fuck it, that has any black people in it. Yeah, I'm not interested in any of that just because there's a black guy in it.
Right.
You really do you even know how retarded you sound? Like, how absolutely retarded you sound. You're making a ridiculous straw man argument because you want to win, when you know like why that was put in there. Like, literally, this guy was put in because of the George Floyd shit. And this is another thing, goes back to the whole politics thing. If you don't recognize that this stuff gets pushed in there on purpose, like everything that we've had to go through for the last fucking 10 years is political. It was either something to do with Me Too, something to do with the George Floyd riots, something to do with the fucking COVID business. All of those things have affected our life and every aspect of it, and there's no avoiding it. So you might as well confront it. Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, Assassin's Creed was quite literally using identity politics, through the vehicle of George Floyd in Yasuke face,
based on his face. Yes,
and because because they literally use George Floyd's face in there, but then they go and they cover it up with a samurai costume to somehow say that, oh, this is perfectly fine to have in here. And it's just, they use that as the conduit to pump in all their, fucking non-binary, silly ass bullshit that got put in there. That's just like, I don't think that really was part of, what was going on in history at that point in time. But okay. See how well this actually performs. And we have, and it didn't, so to go and just say, oh no, because black man, it's like, no, it's because they disrespected the black man that it was supposed to actually be telling a story about. That's kind of the issue.
Like the actual historical black man did not exist.
Right.
They just made up a completely different dude.
Right.
Gave him the same name
and stolen valor
and based him on a fucking drug addict criminal.
Right.
Like, that's what they did. So I don't know. But look, anyway, in closing, the Humanist Report is a piece of shit that's trying to make people think that the Halo fans everywhere are all mad at the Orange Man because he dared make a meme using Halo images. And the only reason why he's doing it is because he's trying to score points with his side and gaslight you into thinking that's what happened. When the truth is, everyone enjoys the memes.
Right.
And the fact that the Department of Homeland Security and ICE and the White House and even the president and the vice president have a sense of humor. I don't know if you guys saw JD Vance's Halloween costume, but he basically made himself into the meme of himself. Nice. And it was hilarious. That bothers them because that's how we win. We laugh we laugh at everything that's happening. We laugh particularly at these people. We enjoy our life. They can't stand that because they need us to be black-pilled and depressed and denialistic about everything. And that's how they win. But if we laugh at them because they're jokes, they're weirdos, they're freaks, then we win. And so that's all you have to do. Point and laugh, my friends. So anyway, that guy's scum. And here we get, I wanted to show this one other thing about Homeland Security, which I thought was kind of great. This is a Lord of the Rings reference. Remember, Lord of the
Indeed.
Rings, they hate that movie. Why?
Yep.
Because it's based. That's why. So they hate these movies. The board is set. The pieces are moving. We come to it at last. The great battle of our time. There won't be a Shire Pippin. How awesome is that? And they're fucking mad. Oh, yeah. Well, some of these people are. Yeah, they're enjoying this, but the left doesn't
Yep.
like it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we can see what happens when the Shire is not protected. That's what's happening over in the UK and Europe in general right now. You know,
Mhm.
that's what Tolkien
Pictured
was.
ICE agents without their mask. Wick TV. What a cringe lord you are, bro. You're losing this.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, that doesn't vibe well with the current touchy feely aspect of the way that we're supposed to look at the Urukai. You know, and the
Yeah.
website. You know, they're misunderstood immigrants. You completely flipped it around. What?
Yeah. I know. Kind of awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, so we're coming to the end here. So Grums made a great post. Well, I'm glad he said it, but I knew that this was true. And he said, "I accept it now. For years, they said Gamergate was responsible for everything, including Trump. We laughed and called them deluded. But were they? Now that the White House is posting Halo memes and trading bants with GameStop, the truth is undeniable. Gamers won."
Mm-hmm.
Now, look, I don't think he's saying that the battle is over. So
No,
don't do that. But what he's saying is what I've been saying,
Mm-hmm.
that Gamergate was, I think, a large part of why we are where we are right now in
Yes.
terms of like the progress that we've made. And I
Right.
said this. I've been saying this since 2016, probably before that. But when Trump got elected, I definitely said Gamergate did this. Because remember, meme magic. And then, look, I'm not saying that, Trump is one of us or that he was perfect or anything like that. But he
Right.
did upset the right people. And that he was a grenade that like blew up everything, regardless of what the outcomes are, which we don't know yet. But I
Right.
know he pissed off the right people, and that's enough for me. That's all
Indeed.
I need, right?
Yep.
And so,
I know
go
I've
ahead.
mentioned it before. You know, when it applies to this, when you go and start putting your agenda in front of people who have been for years, if not decades of their lives, skilled in pattern recognition and building upon that. Don't be surprised when they actually resist and do what they've been kind of modeled to do through gaming over all these years. When we see this big pervasive threat coming, we're supposed to stand and fight against it, and that's what's been going on for the last 10 years. Is this stuff had already gotten all those other forms of media, as we had mentioned, and then once gaming kind of got seen as something that was more than just this niche based thing and something that they could capitalize upon to kind of incept the minds of children, because that's what they love to do. That's why you can't go to school and actually be taught anything anymore, is because that is even more interactive than a gaming space. And so now that's where they're taking their battleground to, because it's and they've been doing it by degrees in that area as well for years. But all this stuff that we see happening so overtly now is because they gained comfort by having all those other forms of media well within their grasp of control. And then when they put it in the gaming space, there's been a big upheaval, because it's like we can actually see it for what it actually is. And that's because this medium is more interactive. And, where does the intention in a game come from? The game world motivating you, or you being motivated to go through the game? It's back and forth. It's a symbiotic kind of thing. And so the one directional kind of info dumping of making NPCs that they have adhered to for decades, if not centuries, throughout control schemes in play, it doesn't function in a gaming space, because there is that interactive element, and there will be a counter response to any action. And so now we're just kind of seeing the outgrowth of that, and I think it's amazing. But it doesn't mean to stop now because of something that was done just for the lulz, ostensibly. But it is at least a cultural touchstone in where we're at, in this fight, though. I think that's pretty cool and important to take into account.
Some other comments we got about this Halo thing. So we have some other like games journos while they're still here.
Right.
IGN's Jamie Greismer. Let's get an early life check on that. Who's the lead designer on Halo 2 and Halo 3. So IGN shared this information. Says using Halo imagery to call to destroy people because of their immigration status goes way too far and ought to offend every Halo fan. I personally find it despicable. The Flood are evil space zombie parasites and are not an allegory for any group of people except for communists.
Right.
Look,
social
again,
contagions.
This is completely hyperbolic just for the purposes of getting you emotionally worked up. And I'm sorry, but I'm a man with testosterone. I don't get worked up over language. So,
right.
Yes, Gamergate traumatized them. Take advantage of that. Take the win by claiming the perceived victories over them. And the thing is, they never thought that it was possible because they thought so little of you as gamers, as people. They think so little of you that they thought it was never possible that you could actually have a voice and make a difference. And all you got to do is not buy their shit. And we have been doing that pretty effectively. Alyssa Mercante chimed in on this.
Of course.
And said she highlighted the brutal mass deportation campaign and called it a triple concentrated circus of contemporary demons, fascism, Chan humor, and the military entertainment complex. We have a military entertainment complex? Let's go. I want to see that. So yeah, completely ridiculous. Joseph Bernstein says Trump admin's racist Halo memes are a new level of dehumanization of immigrants. The White House just marked the end of the console wars. DHS is posting deep fried Halo memes. We are somewhere else entirely. Racist. Well, how? What are you talking about? Yeah, so anyway, we got that, right? So they're losing, at least in this regard. The PR war is what I mean by that.
Yeah,
they're losing the PR war, and that was like the whole thing from the beginning. They're marketers. They're marketers that use their marketing for their activism.
Yeah.
So they're losing.
I have someone that I interact with here. His name's Fear the Haggis, or I just call him Kyle. But he's from down in Australia, and he makes AI meme songs all the time. And
that's awesome.
And one of his most recent ones this week, Mercanti was going on a rant on her Twitch about this stuff specifically. I'll send it to you
send it to me in
I'll send it to you in Discord. But yeah, it's hilarious because it's like her doing this battle hymn sermon, kind of, I'm Melissa Mercante. It's great. And that's that's how we actually do put up some level of resistance to what's happening on this top-down kind of Troon world projection that they're this whole clown show they're trying to make into things. They are complaining about what we're doing because it is actually effective. Because what they want is people to be censored and cajoled and just under thought paradigms of what is and isn't allowed to be said. And so that's why it's like, well, I'm going to say the thing that you're fighting so hard to prevent me from actually saying, because you're sitting here trying to put words in my mouth, call people things, like whatever you identify as, that's on you. Doesn't mean that I have to identify you that way myself, and so it's just it's hilarious that they sit here and they act as though they're the ones being put upon when they're the ones that are trying to put all these limitations in play. And it's like, say whatever you want, but don't be surprised when we say whatever we want as well in response to that, and then the court of public opinion will allow it to play out. And also, just the economic setting will also show you evidence, which is what we have here with all these mass firings and, flopbuster games and all this kind of stuff. These are all things that you could just look at and say, well, if you just went along with it like we want you to, then we wouldn't have these problems. It's like, well, no, we have these problems because you're trying to make this thing at the point of entry. You're trying to funnel us into a control gate, and we're not your cattle.
Yeah, you're making this problem because you're not allowing us free will,
Right.
essentially. All right, let's look at some comments, and then we'll get into some cake. I have one thing to show off.
Indeed.
So let's see. Mr. 0303 says, I would rather let this planet burn than leave it to the feminists. Yeah, basically dealing with it like the progenitors, I guess. Let's see. Robert John said, at least he dropped the man bun. Yeah, he just has a curly fro instead. So Master Goa says, left use their propaganda to force you all the time. Yes, and it's old. It's very old, and it's becoming really transparent.
Mm-hmm.
Watch TV, welcome, says, yeah, the amount of game companies that blame the fans for not buying their shitty game, maybe make a better game that people actually want. Yeah, that would be nice, right? And that's the thing. That's why they're failing. It's not, capitalism, cutting corners. How about like get good, you know?
Yeah.
Master Goa says that guy probably has a fentanyl Floyd shrine in his house. Yeah. Frank Blaskowitz says the fighting becomes more difficult after you pass the tipping point. Yeah, well, I'm ready for it. I've been here for 10 years and I feel like I'm making progress, so I'm not going to stop. See, Dean Domino says, I've been enjoying the hit AI animated series, The Will Stansel Show. It do be like that, Mrs. Stansel. Yes, I am also. I've seen some of it. I don't quite find it funny, but I can understand why people do. All right. So if you guys have anything, send it as a super chat and I'll be sure to put it through. I could show more, but I just have one movie trailer actually, or show trailer. I think it's a show trailer.
Right. Oh yeah. This comedy.
You've seen this? Rockham Hall?
I have seen a thing for
oh my God,
over on
this
Chinwag.
looks
Yeah, this looks
funny,
hilarious.
Man. Like a good spoof movie is so hard to find now, and I feel like this one is gonna be pretty good. So let's take a look at Rockham Hall. This trailer, okay.
Indeed.
Well done, Father.
England, 1931. Welcome to Fackham Hall, home to the Davenports.
Finally, one of our children is to be wed.
After so many years of courting, she's finally found the right cousin.
It was a different time, a simpler time.
You're here for the position of hall boy, is that right?
You've brought all the wine up from the cellar.
Yes, Mom.
And closed the cellar hatch.
A time of manners.
Stop gawping and do your job.
A time of modesty.
What is that you're reading?
It's a tale of forbidden love.
Oh, boy.
Yep.
And a time of murder.
The studio that watched 2 seasons of Downton Abbey.
Right.
I'm here regarding the murder of Lord Davenport.
mustache.
I'm afraid you're too late.
Oh,
Someone's already done it. I believe...
Did you hear that? That's good. This
Yep.
is like classic airplane stuff.
Yeah.
So I want to listen. I want you to listen to this. Go to the beginning. Yeah, here we.
I'm here regarding the murder of Lord Davenport. I'm afraid you're too late. Someone's already done it. I believe the murderer to be in this room. I shall be watching you all. And if there's anything out of the ordinary, you can be damn sure I'll notice it.
The mustache under the
Hangs his
mustache.
mustache up.
If you want a real suspect, try looking into that orphan boy.
Tell me your dreams.
Well, I have this dream where my penis falls off, but I can't go to the doctor because I'm late for school.
Same.
What on God's flat earth is going on?
Oh, well, you made it to 7. To London's oldest ever chimney sweep.
How does anyone know when they're in love?
Maybe there's just something in the air. Fuck 'em all.
Precisely.
God is
Oh yeah, no, it is a little bit more. I forgot.
Yeah.
Precisely.
God is there shining a light, and today he's shining a light for these two arseholes. And today he's shining a light for these two. Our souls are eternally in his debt.
You read it wrong.
Yeah.
Amen.
Some good wordplay.
Yeah, like it's clever.
Indeed.
So yeah, that's I mean I don't I only got like 5 minutes. I could do like one more game trailer if it's short. Let me think here. If there is anything that we wanted to see, can't think of anything.
No, we do have a Rumble
I got a
rant.
super chat. Oh no, Rumble rant. Oh, thank you, Deadly Do Ride, for the $5. Thanks for the show, gents. No, thank you for watching. I appreciate it.
Yes,
Yeah, absolutely.
This is, the reason we do these things is
Yep.
audience participation and just we couldn't do it without you. So thank you guys.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. Yeah, I think we'll just wrap it up here because I don't want to go late. I have a long day today.
Yeah.
So
I've got all sorts of stuff happening now. It's crazy. After we get done with here today, actually, I have to go rebuild a studio for the Jester, for Heavenly Jester. He's getting back into content creation. I took a couple months off, and he decided to go with EV instead of StreamYard, based on my experience saying what's easier to work with in the long term and cost efficiency and things like that. So I've got to go and take all the assets that I had for the StreamYard studio and put them into EV and get that set up. So next Saturday in the afternoons, we're going to start doing the Jester's Act again. I'm going to do a whole bunch of thumbnail art, and then I'm going to watch some Red Dwarf episodes, I believe 3 and 4 of season 6. We will be reviewing tomorrow, doing a Time of Red Dwarf in Space over on WTF Live on Will of the Fans' channel. Of course, we start that at 9 a.m. Eastern in the morning, and I'm there throughout the week on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays at that time. And then, of course, tomorrow night, I know we did the costume party yesterday, so I'm pretty sure Sunday. I'm not sure if Toasty's doing another cosplay or not, but we will be doing our show over on Rumble. We're exclusive to Rumble until January. We're waiting for our 1-year anniversary to do a re-debut. That in a span of 8 weeks, Toasty went from getting a warning strike to having 2 strikes on her channel. So we decided best course of action. And it's all for just silly sensatorial kind of stuff that it's all sourced stuff that's available on YouTube, but for whatever reason, when it's on Toasty's channel, it's sexually explicit. So we decided the best course of action is to just not operate on YouTube until the strikes pass. And so in the meantime, she usually joins in on the game streams we do on Will's channel so that she can still have a presence there and not have to worry about, getting completely deplatformed, because it does seem that her interactions with Alyssa over the course of this close to a year have got us to this point. But we're building a new studio for that as well, and we're going to change up the structure once we start again. Like, we'll do the first hour or so of the show, or till the first $50 to go and just go over to Rumble here exclusive and do the show that we like to do as we normally have done it. And so instead of having to deal with a whole bunch of compromises and just shutdowns by trying to appease YouTube, we're just trying to think around it and make it so that we can still kind of use it as an introduction point. Because unfortunately, it is the case where there are some people who just want to watch YouTube no matter what, and getting them to come over to Rumble, even though I find it to be a better platform in terms of creativity and things like that, they'd much rather do their thing. So we at least want to have a part of the show there to, at least convince some of those people over time to start using the Rumble side of things. But yeah, so that is, I've got all sorts of stuff keeping me busy, and thankfully the new PC from the UK is set to arrive probably, I'm hoping by Wednesday at the latest this week. So that I can tear all this stuff down and build it back up again and not only work on all these side projects for other people and everything like that, but I can actually start building up those various channels that I have on Rumbles and actually do the thing. But always a pleasure hanging out here with you on Saturday mornings. And again, everybody in the audience, thanks so much for hanging out with us for the last couple hours of your morning, or whatever time of day it is if you're international and viewing. It's definitely one of the things I look forward the most during the week is having these conversations. So
that's cool.
Yeah. Well, like I say, I think you and we get into a little bit more of the deep kind of intricacies on some of these things. So it's always nice to talk to somebody who wants to get into a wider conversation. But with that said, safe travels ahead. Y'all have a wonderful weekend going forward. Of course, be awesome as always.
All right. Real quick, Shadow Claw, and I think that there's enough of a low latency that he'll hear this or see this right away.
Mm-hmm.
You said, "Are you taking comments? I have an important announcement to tell you, Brian." Yeah, go ahead and drop it in there, and I'll be sure to read it. In the meantime, I'm going to give you a little bit of time to say it, but we're going to be wrapping the show up here. So
please.
What do you got
coming up while we wait?
Well, I think in November, I'm going to take it easy from the game streaming, and I might just make videos. I'm going to try to get back into it. It's kind of hard to do, but I think I'm just going to do that. And then I will continue to do the Week in Culture with you, and I may do the occasional game stream. Now that Spooktober is over, I haven't really decided. I might if I do any streaming, it'll probably be on specific games that I'm looking to finish. Shadow Claw says, I'm in meaning to tell you this for a few weeks. Smug Alana announced that she would do a video or an interview with you if you approached her and talked to her about it. Hell yeah, I would. How
really?
do you get send her a message and let her know. Smug Alana is a VTuber. She said it live on her stream less than a month ago. I keep trying to remember to tell you. Well, shit, dude. Let her know. Mr. 0303 says no nut games. I don't know. Maybe.
I was thinking Thanksgiving.
I'm gonna try and get some things done. So
yeah.
What was that?
I was thinking if you do anything, you can call it Thanksgiving for November.
Yeah. And look, Shadow Claw, you're in my Discord. Just tell me what the best way to reach her is, and I will do it. And if she wants me to be on as a VTuber as well, I can probably set that up. So.
Indeed.
Anyway, so thanks guys for coming on the show. If you guys like this video, please hit like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, hit the bell for notifications, leave us a comment. Let us know what you guys think about what we discussed on the show today. And please, please, please share this video because sharing is caring. Thank you guys so much for coming on today's episode of The Week in Culture, and we will talk to you guys in the next one. Long live Vivian.
With the glass ceiling broken, all the oppressed groups shall prosper, especially the most oppressed group of all, gamers.
I want people in the industry to be a little bit louder about people being mean to other people, and maybe say it's not a good thing.
Yeah.
Maybe say we don't want you around if you're going to be a cunt.
Yeah.
And hateful. And that the games industry is diverse naturally. Not because anyone's making them be diverse. Because the world is diverse, you stupid motherfucker. And if you have a problem with that, come fight me. Physically. Bitch.
Has anyone taken you up on that yet?
No, because they're all pussies.
Yep.
Down here, salt is a way of life.
Obviously, the environment down here is all salt. The ceiling's salt, the floor is salt, the walls are salt, and to an extent, the air is salt. And you breathe that in, and you can constantly taste the salt.